Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello, welcome back.
So we see this from the New York Post. Thousands in Texas wait up to 12 hours for free food.
That's insane.
Well, this is the time we have. This is what we have going on right now. There's this perfect storm hitting in so many different ways. Of course, the lockdown situation with the plague upon the land has created this massive blow to the infrastructure of the entire globe when you look at it. Think about it. Think about what we saw a long time ago. We saw basically fresh vegetables and food being dumped and destroyed. We've seen, animals culled en masse. We've had, the swine flu. Half of China's pig population was culled. We've had bird flu. We've had all sorts of things going on. And then we have people, losing their jobs in droves, people not being able to do their work because, the laws are there that say you can't, you can't go to work, you can't, live a normal life, and you can't provide for your family because of what's going on right now with the plague upon the land. So it's all adding up, and it's creating massive suffering around the globe.
Yeah, it's really pretty horrible and done, I feel, by design.
Ouch. Yep. I mean, a lot of people really question the wisdom of what we see going on. Is the cure worse than the disease? When you see what's happening, and we've talked about the toll to small businesses, small and medium-sized businesses, because, for the most part, besides a few little niches here and there, it's the biggest of the big that are growing, richer and wealthier as far as, obviously Amazon. With so many people in a lockdown situation, and, being faced, like we've been in some states where, they only allow one person into a store for one person going out. So, a trip to the store might take you hours. And then there's limitations on what you can buy as well. So, if it's available at Amazon, it's just easier to order from Amazon. And, then there's, more, well, you're able to social distance, they wait for the UPS driver to drop the box and safely back away from the box, maintain your 6 feet, et cetera, et cetera. And this is what we have going on. And we've been talking about if we didn't even have the plague upon the land, we did have so many natural disasters going on. Look at the Philippines, Vietnam, and look at Central America right now with the typhoons and the hurricanes that have rolled through, and another hurricane bearing down. These areas are going to be very hard hit to provide food for people.
Yeah, they are. And, they have things set up just so they're getting ready for a certain outcome. So this is on the agenda.
Yeah, this was a Thanksgiving-themed event. They handed out food to about 8,500 families facing financial stress from growing the crisis, 17 times more people than an annual event usually serves. Photos from the event show traffic backed up for miles as people waited for hours in their cars for a package containing a frozen turkey, 20 pounds of canned goods, and 15 pounds of fruit and vegetables, along with bags of bread. Armando Castillo camped out overnight to get first dibs and waited more than 10 hours. We're really appreciative of food drives, because if this didn't happen, I guess we'd be back home farming for ourselves, Castillo told the Dallas Morning News. They also get food from their school. That's why we've been able to make it lately, he said of the family's children. 200 volunteers work through the night to prepare the event and load deliveries to local churches and load deliveries to local churches into U-Hauls. North Texas Food Bank president and CEO Tricia Cunningham said the pandemic has exposed previously hidden food insecurity in northern Texas. Since mid-March, the food bank has given out about 70.8 million pounds of food. So many people need it right now, and there's no stigma attached. If you're coming through this line, you will be served with dignity and respect. It's just a brutal thing that we're seeing as you see all those cars lined up to go get food.
Yeah, and I wonder, what did the gas cost these folks to stay there in line for so long? I don't know.
Well, they probably just shut it off and,
Yeah.
and then turn the car back on. So North Texas Food Bank distributed more than 600,000 pounds of food for about 25,000 people on Saturday. This is just Texas. This is going on across the country in many areas, some worse than others. But globally, what's happening is very, very, it's very, very scary, really, to see what's happening. Giant food stores impose product limits to avoid shortages. So here we go again. Of course, the usual paper products and all. And of course, I have a friend there, Scott, that invested in a bidet.
Oh, that's great. Good job, Scott.
Yeah, right. To save the paper, save the trees, and focus on starvation, destabilization, and migration to avert a global food crisis because of the plague that we see, and that is one skinny cow.
I know, poor thing.
Yeah, we don't see cows like that around here just yet. But again, so many places are having it worse than others. And food security has become a top priority in the Caribbean as well as, of course, travel restrictions. Think about that. So much of the income in those gorgeous islands in the Caribbean, for instance, is all about travel. Think about everybody that's in the cruise industry, same thing. They're getting hammered. I saw where 1/3 of flight routes have been just lost. So what we're seeing here is, again, it's just global devastation of the economy, and it is wiping out so many small businesses, family-run businesses, completely wiping them out. And really all we're going to have left is going to be just a handful of the mega corporations, and they will be controlling every little thing.
Yeah, it's such a slow and steady destruction.
And then so many areas that have been so hard hit by these earth changes, as we were talking about earlier. We were talking about the likelihood of a Category 4 landfall in that area of the Caribbean in just a matter of 10 days, I think, something like that. Having two of them, or potentially a 4 and a 5, it seems so highly unlikely in any other year but 2020.
Right. Yeah.
And as we see here at International Business Times, growing fear, anxiety mounts over Vietnam's food staples. Well, Vietnam and the Philippines have been absolutely hammered and so flooded, crops wiped out, and right now, as we speak, there are people that their homes are still chest high in water or just totally gone. And this humanitarian crisis is growing. And then here in this article, it gets into using pesticides, and there's been cases of people getting sick and poisoned from the overuse of pesticides. But then, of course, the organic actually costs more and is out of the reach of some people. And then again, you have to weigh it. Can I afford, am I better off getting a 1 pound bag of carrots that's organic when I could buy a 3 pound bag that's conventional? And we've talked about this, it's been a while, but the nutrition in an organic carrot is much more than the nutrition in a quote unquote conventional. And this again speaks to just how ass backwards our whole world is and our whole system is when, conventional is something that is not naturally provided by nature.
Right. It's quality.
Yeah. Just think about how backwards that is. You're calling something conventional and normal, but it's actually not normal. It's actually the modified thing. It's the thing that's manipulated and saturated with pesticides and stuff. Conventional should be organic. That's the thing. And here we see, more and more lockdowns. As we talked about, Oregon and New Mexico issue near lockdowns. North Dakota has a mandate there, as you know, for facial coverings. And Washington and Michigan are entering partial lockdowns again as things are spiking. And this is an editorial that comes out of Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Review-Journal, saying lockdowns are a public health hazard themselves because, for one, depression is rampant. Suicides are through the roof. There are people that feel they can't provide for their family anymore. Their whole way of life is destroyed. You got to look at the bigger picture with the impact, tunnel vision. There's a lot of tunnel vision going on, and you got to wonder if it's tunnel vision with a crosshair on it, if you know what I mean. I don't even think there's any wondering about that. I think people have their opinions formulated. Vegas has been decimated, obviously. Vegas is another place that's totally tourism, generated capital.
Oh gosh, they are. You walk down the strip and it's just constant money. That's all you hear is money, and now that's come to a total halt.
Yeah, it has. So there's much more going on here than meets the casual glance. And here is an article talking about composting at home. Interesting. Renewed interest as kitchen gardens grow common in 2020. Even in apartment buildings and high rises, there are things you can do. And we've been talking about this for several years now. And we've talked about, our desires to go more of the tiny home route and eventually do the homesteading thing as well. As you see, we're going to be forced to. This is what's coming. We're going to be forced to go back to our roots to grow at least a portion of our own food. You're going to have food inflation skyrocketing. That's coming.
Well, and I think the focus is important to keep it on the blessing, that you can grow your own food, even if it is in a house, a small apartment, whatever. What a blessing to be able to grow your food and eat that nutrition is so good for you.
It is, again, intent too, and bless it, bless it and charge it while it's growing. And our good buddy Dave in the UK, he talks to his plants all the time, and he has a flat, he has an apartment, and there's not 1 ounce of space that's not being utilized to grow things. And then he also went and I forget how much he said he pays. I think maybe something like $50 or $60. I'm not sure if that's a month. But he basically is renting a piece of land to grow food on. And there are other people in this community that do the same. And what he gets out of that piece of land is amazing. But he's got one of the greenest thumbs that I know.
Oh, gosh, he's incredible. Yeah.
So even if you have a space like this and you have a balcony that can get some light, take advantage of it. Grow things, hang flower pots, and grow things out of it. Think about what you enjoy eating and think about what is nutritionally worth growing as well.
Absolutely, yes.
And there's a lot of old skills that need to be harnessed, such as canning and things like that as well.
And, growing your own herbs, and those are so medicinal.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. So we got to get back to nature. We got to get back to providing for ourselves as much as we can, because the alternative is going to be relying on the system. And who really wants to rely on the system?
I know, their food, that's not so good.
Exactly. As always, guys, thank you for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. We couldn't do it without you. And God bless and namaste.
Namaste.